Hello and welcome to the Holly Meredith Show. Thank you so much for rejoining me today, and thank you TeaPartyCommunity.com for being the best fans anybody could ever have. You share all of my shows, you tell everybody about me, and you are responsible for growing my audience enormously, and I truly, truly do appreciate that. Today, let's talk about the biggest tax increase we have ever had on the country of America in ever. We are talking about Obamacare, which should really be called Obama tax, which it wasn't when it was passed, because had it been called a tax when it was written, it could never have been passed, which is why it's so grossly unconstitutional. Thank you, Chief Justice Roberts, for rewriting Obamacare twice in order to make it a tax so that we could actually have it be constitutional, even though it was a penalty originally when Elena Kagan, one of the Chief Justices now voting on it, was one of the architects of the bill. Yes, she was the Attorney General for Obama when she put the bill together. Yes, she did. Along with Ezekiel Emanuel, the incredibly insane brother of Rahm Emanuel. Those two put their heads together and developed Obamacare. Yes, they did. And I have said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll be saying it when they drag me off to my grave. Elena Kagan should never have been allowed to vote on Obamacare. Never. When she was in front of Congress for her confirmation hearing, and she was specifically asked, would she vote on Obamacare were she to be confirmed as a Supreme Court justice? Her answer was, under oath. Allow me to reiterate that. Under oath. Her answer was, no, if Obamacare comes before me while I am a Supreme Court justice, if I get confirmed, I will recuse myself. You can actually hear that. You can watch the recording of that hearing because it's there for all posterity to see. So she cannot even deny it. Not that it matters in our completely criminal administration, because we are being run by the criminal thugs from Chicago. They see nothing wrong with lying under oath. I mean, after all, Obama is a disbarred attorney because he lied on his application to become an attorney. I won't get into that, it's not important anymore, but that's what they're like. They see nothing wrong with lying in order to get the result that they want. Elena Kagan lied under oath and said she would recuse herself. Well, she was confirmed, and it did come before the Supreme Court. And did she recuse herself? Well, no, she did not. She did not recuse herself. So she's not only guilty of contempt of Congress, which she is for lying under oath. That vote that she did that made Obamacare legal should be null and void, because her vote should not have been counted, because she shouldn't have been allowed to vote had she done what she said when she was confirmed and said she would not vote on it. Okay, now that we have that all out of the way, let's go back to the fact that this is the largest tax on the American public ever in our history, and it's nothing but taxes. As I've told you before, on the 31st, which is, let me think, tomorrow, most of America is practicing civil disobedience. They are not signing up for Obama scam. They are saying no. They are saying they want no part of, and remember, tomorrow was supposed to be the end-all and be-all of Obamacare. You were supposed to be signed up tomorrow, or the IRS, which is the enforcement branch of Obamacare, was going to come and take your money away. But no, because we have 2014 elections coming, and the liar-in-chief is trying to protect as many Democrats as he can, he has made another change. We have now had the 18th change to a bill without congressional approval, which is unconstitutional, illegal completely, and means that the bill is a laughingstock, just like he is. Laughing all the way, every single day. He is the biggest clown. He makes Clarabelle the clown look like a real person. Anyway, as of tomorrow, everyone is supposed to be signed up, but nobody is signing up. In Oregon, they don't have one person. Oh no, not one. How can you have not even one in super liberal Oregon? My God, they love this guy. Or they did. They did love this guy. They're not so much in love anymore. And how can you be in love with somebody who does nothing but lie to you all day long? Why, even just last week, He said the Pope is a liar. Now, whom do you believe? The Pope or our Obama? I believe you believe the Pope. And I am sure that that's the reason, because the Pope isn't really known for lying, where Obama is known for lying. I have to go to a break, and that's a good thing, because we have many, many sponsors who are now sponsoring us, because finally you're waking up to the fact that you have been conned.
Hi, my name is Michael Goldenberg. I'm the owner of Quality Ink and Toner. We've been in business for 8 years now. We sell compatible and remanufactured toner cartridges. Specialize in offices, doctors, lawyers, insurance companies. Delivery is free if you're in Palm Beach County or Broward. If you're outside of that area, drop shifts are available. Phone number is 561-396-4700. Okay, if you call us today, you can have same-day delivery. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Anyway, back from my break, thank you so much. I appreciate enormously the fact that you're here again. So let's go back to a few other things. Not only is the clown in chief now perpetrating this nonsense on you, and you've wised up to that. You want nothing to do with it, thank all the gods. But he now wants to take away from you, as I started to tell you last week, your internet. Your internet. And it's your internet. It belongs to us. We developed it. We're the people who graciously allow the rest of the world to use it. This fool wants to give it away to other countries for nothing. Bad enough that he even wants to give it away. Who is he? He didn't develop it. Why should he be allowed to give it away? But he wants to do that. And you can stop him. I've said this before, but you have to really rise up and stop him. Just like the people in Connecticut stopped the confiscation of the guns. You may not know this, but in 1774, King George stopped all rifles from being sent to the colonies. He banned any colonial person from getting a gun. Yes, he did. They were not to be carried on ships, and they were not to be sold from England. So in 1775, when he tried to ban them in the colonies, which he did, he tried to confiscate them from the colonies in 1775. And lo and behold, what do you think happened in 1776? We had our first revolution. And here we are, 237 years later, getting ready to have our second one. Because here are the same kinds of people trying to do the same things, which is disarm the population, because if you're disarmed, there is nothing you can do when people come into your house and say, we're taking you out of here, we don't care what you think. Just ask all the people from Stalinist Russia, or Ho Chi Minh's country, or any of the other countries that are dictatorships. The same kinds of people want to do the same kinds of things to us. So you have to say no to Obamacare, no to any infringement of any kind on our Second Amendment. In fact, no to any of this absolute, complete nonsense, because that is all it is. Absolute, complete nonsense. Can you say to yourself today, 5 years after we elected Obama as the one who told us that he could part the seas, remember that? He was able to part the seas? I don't think so. Not unless we really get smart and throw him in one. But he told everybody he could part the seas, and some people actually believed him. Are we in a better position than we were 5 years ago? No, we are not. Our economy hasn't even made 2% growth, not even 2%. We're running, if you add up all the unemployment figures, we're running about 21% unemployment. In the black community, which overwhelmingly voted for him, you're running around 32% unemployment. We have inflation. We have rampant inflation. Even though the little dwarf Janet Yellen in the Federal Reserve tells you that you don't, it's because they artificially maintain all of our interest rates. When you go to the grocery store, that's when you know you have inflation. When you look at the prices of everything from 5 years ago, including gasoline, you know you have inflation. Inflation is what you get when you have a government that constantly prints money. The more money you print, the less valuable is the money that you have. So when you go to the grocery store, your $20 no longer gets you $20 worth of anything. It gets you $10 worth of anything, or $5 worth of anything, or $2 worth of anything, or you need $40 to buy $10 worth of what you bought 5 years ago. So here we are with Mr. Obama, Mr. Clown, Mr. Fool, Mr. just bad in every way, okay? I've always said I believe him to be the true Antichrist, and I really do believe he's the real Antichrist. I don't think he was born in Kenya. I think he was hatched there. I think he came out of a big, giant yellow egg. It cracked one day, and there he was, incarnate, all in his big cloven hoofs. There he was. I bet if you take his shoes off today, you're going to see cloven hoofs. How anybody can want anything to do with this creature is beyond me. He is so anti-American in every way. Not just in one way, but in every way. You're sitting there at home trying to figure out how to pay your bills, and he is giving away $55 million, $400 million, $30 million to Libya, to Syria, to Egypt, and now to the Ukraine. Yes, we have a new player on how to rob America, the Ukraine. Now they want to give money to the Ukraine. I don't know if you're aware of the fact, as I've tried to explain to you before, but last week, charming Obama tried to sneak something through the Senate. And oh yes, they just did have a vote where they didn't have enough votes to do it, so they did it anyway. Your whole Congress just passed a bill without having enough votes to do it. You have a completely lawless, L-A-W-L-E-S-S administration. They do anything they want to do, whenever they want to do it, whether you like it or not. And most of the time, your very compliant media hides it from you. They don't want you to know. You're supposed to be stupid, which apparently, again, you are, because you're not doing anything about this. How many more terrifying things can he do to your country? He is gutting our military, gutting it. Absolutely, flat out purging out of the military any true patriotic American generals, sergeants. Chris Kyle, a sniper, wasn't accidentally killed by somebody who was trying to help. Oh, for goodness sake. Have you ever heard another word about it? No. Chris Kyle and another friend of his take another person who was having a hard time with post-traumatic stress syndrome. They go to an open shooting range, and lo and behold, there's nobody around. And then half an hour later, Chris Kyle has 2 bullets in his back. His friend is dead too, and they can't find the guy who did the shooting. What? When they can hear every single solitary conversation that you have, how can they have had that happen? Because they killed the guy. They killed Chris Kyle because he wasn't putting up with any of their rubbish, and he was going to write another book very quickly about what was really going on because he knew. What about all of our SEALs? Why do you think all of our SEALs are being killed off? The cream of our military. The best there is, because if they're dead, they certainly can't fight back when you try to take over, right? However, this clown thinks that he can get most of the American people that are in law enforcement and in the police departments to go his way if he decides he wants to have martial law, when everybody does stand up and say, we've had enough of your bullshit and we're going to throw you out of here, which is what all of you should be standing up and saying. I've had enough and I'm not going to take it from you anymore. That is what all of you should be saying every single day. I'm getting ready to go to another break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Please rejoin me. Thank you for coming back. This is Holly Meredith, and I want to just continue a little bit more. I'm getting close to the closing of my show, but it's so important for you to understand this. Just put down on a piece of paper for yourself, 5 years ago, price of gas, price of food, standing in the international community, what you can expect your children to be able to do for the rest of their life. We're now fast closing on $18 trillion worth of debt. $18 trillion worth of debt. And at least 6 million of that come from the vacations that Wildebeest, that would be our first lady, takes with all of her 90 people that she takes along with her. Are you kidding me? We are in a depression. Nobody wants to admit it, but that's where we are. And he has brought us here. He has brought us here, all in his flaming oratory that means nothing and says nothing. And if he didn't have a teleprompter, he wouldn't be able to talk. Please pay attention to how he was in Europe just now. He was just in Europe. One person clapped at his last speech. One person! One! Because it was complete and utter nonsense. He didn't even make sense. He stammered and stuttered his way through it, making absolutely no sense because there was no teleprompter there. But he was standing behind bulletproof glass, which shows that he's not all that stupid. He needed that bulletproof glass because the most beloved president in history, he is most certainly not. not just in this country, but everywhere else that he goes. He has cut the feet out from under Israel. He cannot be depended upon. For goodness sake, Saudi Arabia, of all countries, is nervous about him. Saudi Arabia, they called him and he answered, because he'll answer them. Remember, they are the people that he bowed to. Remember that? For the first time in our history, we've had so many firsts with this thing. He bowed to the leaders of Saudi Arabia. Now, I would be kicking them up the ass, but he bowed to them. They called him, yes. Abdullah wanted to see him, and he ran to see him. And I guarantee you the reason Abdullah wanted to see him is because they can't believe his cockamamie international business either. And it is cockamamie. Since he's been our president, Egypt has had a revolution, Libya has no government, Syria is fast closing on them, Russia makes a laughing stock of us every single day in every single way. Vladimir Putin must laugh himself to sleep every night. He must get a fit of giggles every time he says the name Obama. He must literally sit there and giggle, 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 because that is what this thing has brought us to. We are the most we were the most powerful country in the world. We had the finest health care. We had the best school system. We had everything anybody would ever want. Why do you think so many people from around the world beat the bushes, even illegally, to get here? Because nowhere else on the planet do they have an opportunity to be something. Here they had an opportunity. Maybe they couldn't achieve it, but at least they had a chance at achieving it. That's why so many people want to be here. Gee, do you think you could figure that out? But no. Barack Hussein Obama, otherwise known as Barry Soetoro, which is his real name. Barack Hussein Obama, President of the United States. Again, I say to you, if George Washington, bless his soul, was to be dug up today and put together and got to look around and see what is sitting in his White House, I think George Washington would go literally insane. I think he would lose his mind. I think he would run up and down in the Capitol building and going, what has happened? Where am I? This cannot be my America. This is not the America that I bled and left a beautiful, wonderful, incredible republic. This is not my America. He would not recognize it, and neither do I, and neither do you, because it isn't. This is not the country that it should be. We are rapidly approaching being a third world socialist dictatorship. You have a dictator, not a president. He does not care what the people want. He couldn't care less that Obamacare is destroying lives and messing people up that were perfectly happy with their health care, perfectly happy with it. And get ready for this statistic, we'll put 65% of small businesses out of business. Out of business. So if you don't only understand that it's the biggest tax we've ever had, understand that it's the biggest economy breaker we've ever had. And this is all being done on purpose. This is a plan to destroy the underlying fabric of this country, to bring this country down to the same level as the rest of the world, because they can't come up to our level. So he is going to make sure that our wealth is stripped away from us. The best way to do that is by taking over 1/6 of our economy, which is what Obamacare does. And the 202 taxes that are in it, you're beginning to see the pain of that. But you won't see it now because he has postponed so many of these. You won't see it now until after the 2014 elections. And by the way, you won't see the real horror story, the real pain, the real grief until after 2016, when he's having somebody else supposedly write another book for him. Because that's how he's done the laws, so that you don't see the really bad stuff. But I think most people are beginning to understand the really bad stuff. This is Holly Meredith. I'm impassioned for a reason. You have the greatest country in the world ever. Don't give it away to this freak. Stand up and say, and mean it. Maybe you'll get arrested. So what? Maybe you'll have a blot on your record again. So what? Is your country worth it? Yes, it is. I'm getting ready to sign off on my show. Thank you so much for listening to me. And this is Holly Meredith, and we'll be on sooner, 2 or 3 times a week. Please tune in.